Good evening, everyone. Welcome to week two of personal and professional development. I hope you're all enjoying it so far. It'd be lovely to meet you all last week, and I hope to get to know you all a bit better over the next couple of months. So tonight's, what we're going to discuss tonight is learning outcome 3, and that is assess the role and practice of time management, the impact of poor time management and your own personal time management behavior. So, how to manage your time effectively and efficiently. The key to successful time management is planning and then protecting the planned time. This can often involve reconditioning your environment and particularly the reconditioning the expectations of others. Time enables each of us to improve and be more productive and fulfilled individually. So logically, the effects across the whole organizations of good or poor time management are enormous. Of wasted time, and also the benefits of increasing personal productivity. Time management. So here's some stats for you. Significance and opportunities in time management. A 2007 survey by Proudfoot Consulting, covering 2,500 businesses over 4 years and 38 countries, waste time costs UK businesses £80 billion per year, equivalent to 7% of the GDP. The causes of wasted time, in other words, were inadequate workforce supervision, 31%, poor management and planning, 30%, poor communications, 18%, IT problems, low morale, lack or mismatch of skills, 21%. Clearly, organizations are vastly underutilizing, doing a lot more to enable more efficient working. These failings of organization and leadership make it all the more important for individual people to create, to start making changes to improve time management at a personal individual level. So just have a quick look at these. Okay, so inadequate workforce supervision. So, you know, it goes without saying, if the workforce is poorly supervised, you will get individuals who may not, would say, pull their weight. Poor management planning, anything that's badly managed or badly planned is going to cost you time and money. Communications, again, you know, poor communication between people, between departments, between sections, between teams. Again, it'll all cost time because you constantly have to repeat or report something that should have been, you know, caught the first time. IT problems, low morale, lack of mismatch of skills. Again, sometimes we place people in a role that doesn't suit them. It's not that there's anything wrong with that person. It just means that that particular role doesn't suit their skill set. They might be better off or more productive in another role, but sometimes we don't do that. We leave them where they are, or we remove them from the company or the organization altogether, only to take on another person that is badly matched or mismatched, or his skill set is not the correct skills for that particular role. Companies, organizations, they are all not using people to their best potential. I heard a story yesterday about a security company here in Dublin, and either hire or promote within, where they had more than enough people, more than qualified for the job. They hired from outside a young chap through no fault of his own. He applied for the job, he got it, you know. But this particular person had absolutely no security experience whatsoever, yet he was given a supervisor's role. You know, and this is what we're facing here within the security industry. You know, I don't know why that is. You know, do they feel that, you know, from promoting within, that, you know, I suppose it screams lack of trust, really, when you think about it. But that's another day's story, okay? Right, tips for managing your time. Be prepared to make some drastic changes. Be creative to find and introduce different ways of doing things. If you need a starting point, see the Pareto principle, 80 rule, to assess what efforts and activities are productive. So the 80-20 rule basically says, right, so what it means really is 80% of the results come from 20% of the effort. And that's where you want to be, kind of. Now, have a look at Google it. So, calls and emails. Manage your emails and phone calls. Don't let them manage you. Ideally, check at planned times and avoid continuous notification of incoming emails. The more senior you are, the more selective you need to be about when to be available to receive phone calls. Try and minimize the time that you're available to take unplanned phone calls, unless you are a customer facing or in a reactive role. Customers can be internal too. And even if you are customer facing, you must plan some time when you're not available, or you'll never get anything important or proactive done. Saying yes, tendency without raising request. Start asking and probing what's involved, what real expectations are and needs are. Keep a log or use time management templates. Really think about how you currently spend your time. If you don't know, keep a time log for a few days to find out. So, whatever role you're in at the moment, you email on daily basis, where you answer phone calls, you know, as part of your role in your current organizations. But I suppose if you start with your own personal voice, whatever social media or WhatsApp or whatever platform you're using, you know, switch off your notifications, switch off the pop-ups, and see how you get on. If you think about it, once your phone pings or buzzes or you get a pop-up, what's the first thing you're going to do? You're going to stop and see what it is. Now, you may or may not answer to it. That's, you know, just do this there and then. How long does it take? You know, if you answer is, do they reply? Then you reply again, and so forth. Is it going to take you 1 minute? Is it going to take you 2 minutes? Is it going to take you 5 minutes? But imagine if that happens 10 or 20 times during the day. How much time have you wasted there? Have you wasted an hour? Have you wasted 2 hours? Depending on how you interact, how you respond, how you reply to the reply that you. So, you know, have a look at it. Start with your, like I said, In your own roles, I'm not sure what position you have. Is part of your job answering emails or answering phone calls. If it's part of your role, obviously that's something you have to do. Start with your own personal device. And I suppose the best way to do is to leave your device on, leave your notification switched on. And every time that you get a notification, from the time you get your notification to the time you put it back in your pocket or back wherever it is, time, how long it took. Was it 1 minute? Was it 2 minutes? Was it 3 minutes? And at the end of the day, add up all that time, and you'll see how much time you've actually wasted throughout the day. Then the next day, switch off your maybe do it over 2 days, and get an average time per day, how much you're actually wasting on this device. Then maybe the third or fourth day, switch off and only look at it at a certain time, maybe at the end of the day or at lunchtime, whichever. And you you'll be more focused on what you're doing. You feel less, maybe probably less in what needs and what has to be done. But if you're going to do this test on yourself, okay, you have to be honest with yourself. No point in putting down 30 seconds if actually you've been 2 minutes or 3 minutes. You have to be honest with pardon the pun here, you're wasting time, okay? Back to saying yes. Again, do something, whether it be personally or professionally. Do you always say yes just in case you do something, or you don't want to offend somebody? So have a look at that. Ask, again, ask the question, what's involved and what are the real expectations and needs are. How much time is this going to cost you? Is it going to divert you from what you're doing? And then later on, you find that you're trying to catch up. You're rushing other things to get things that should have been done maybe 2 hours previously. So have a look at that. I mean, and we'll get into it as we're going through this, but definitely maybe Wednesday we can have a chat and see how you got on with that, if any decide to take up the challenge. Okay, so this one rule could really change your ability to manage, yes, which is why it's first. If you are a slave to your email system, and particularly if your PC is set up to notify you immediately upon the receipt of any incoming email, then I urge you to make this over your time. Like we mentioned in the previous slide, turn off the pop-up or noise which notifies you have a mail. For many people, this is the single biggest obstacle to successful time management. Establish a new habit of checking your email at certain times in the day when it's sensible for you and the business to do so. Say, 4 or start work, second before lunch, and third around an hour before normal business closes. You must decide when to rest with anyone out there who sends emails to you, nor indeed should rest with spamming or virus spreading community. If your organization has a policy that you be constantly interrupted by your incoming emails, try suggesting that the policy needs to be reviewed. Is the biggest time management detractor in the world there. But like I said in the previous slide, if part of your job is to be answering emails when they come in, that's fine. There's maybe not a whole lot you can do about that. Start with your own personal devices and just see what happens. But like I said, you need to be honest with your time log and the time you put down. Again, I said, be prepared to make drastic changes. Be creative to find and introduce different ways of doing things. Challenge and question your own habits, routines, and the way you defend your time when others try to dictate how you should use it. Again, the Pareto principle is a simple, easy starting point for assessing where you currently direct your time and for identifying where your time could be better directed. Time slots for everybody to do. Make lists and work to them. You are at your most efficient the day before you start your annual leave. If you really want to, you can be this well organized every day. You must plan time slots for unplanned days. You may not know exactly what you do, but if you plan the time to do it, then important things will not get pushed out of the way when the demand arises. Use the test. Is this urgent or important? A job may be terribly important, but it may not need doing now. Get the generally urgent jobs out to be distracted by the bigger jobs. The following matrix tool will help you manage your time according to urgent or important task response, prioritizing and planning. It is based on and extends the time management matrix featured in Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. So again, a job may be, as we said there, a job may be, again, is it how urgent or how important is the task that you've been given? Is this extra task? It may be important, but it may not be done. The genuinely urgent jobs, get them done first. Once you have those done, then that you have a little leeway with the other things that may come. And if you get those done, it opens the door just in case something, unexpected or an emergency may arise that has to be dealt with. That way, then these jobs are done, they're out of the way. They're not rushed or pushed aside or not done, or so it is important to get the genuinely or one, do now. Emergencies, complaints, and crisis issues, again, dealt with as they come in. Demand from superiors and customers, planned tasks or project work now due. Meetings and appointments, reports and other submissions, staff issues or needs, problem resolution, firefighting, fixes. Again, these are things that quite possibly need to be done as they arise, okay? I mean, you don't want to be late to meetings. You don't want to be late for appointments. Reports and other submissions normally have a deadline. So again, it is important to get those in on time. Tasks or project work that has been planned needs to be done. Staff issues or needs, problems that may arise. When we say firefighting, we're talking about actual firefighting. Firefighting is a type of managed things that happen, emergencies that happen, and need to be dealt with quickly and efficiently. 2, and to do. Planning, preparation, and scheduling. Research, investigation, designing, and testing. Networking, relationship building, thinking, creating, modeling, designing, systems and process development, anticipation and prevention, developing direction strategy, critical success, planning, strategic thinking, deciding direction and aims, etc. Plan time thoughts and space for these. Planning, preparation, and scheduling, all very, very important. And try to stick to it. Prepare for it. You should go. Schedule it. These are all things that they're all very basic things, but a lot of them, we forget about them. We don't plan out our day. When your normal day, do you have a plan? If so, is a plan. On your day off, do you have a plan to do stuff on your day off? Again, if so, do you stick to it, or do you get sidetracked by other things and then you don't get time to do stuff you want? So planning, preparation, scheduling, all very, very important. So number 3, reject and explain, not important. Trivial requests from others, apparent emergencies, ad hoc misunderstandings appearing as complaints, pointless routine activities, accumulated unresolved trivia. So these are things that are rejected. Request from others. Again, this goes back to saying yes when you're asked to do something. You know, we start asking the questions before you say yes. Ask the questions about it. Apparent emergencies. Somebody may make out that something is important or emergency, but when it comes down to when it's, you know, when it comes to dealing with it, it turns out that it's not emergency. It turns out to be something trivial. Ad hoc interruptions or distractions, again, they can take very various forms, whether it's your colleague who's constantly talking in your ear, it's a distraction. Misunderstandings appearing as complaints, pointless routines or activities. Do you find that within your workplace that there are pointless routines and activities? Do we need to be doing this? Does this really have to be done? You know, and accumulated unresolved trivia. Stuff that builds up that hasn't been dealt with when it should have been dealt with. It builds up until you finally get to a stage where you have a mountain of stuff in front of you and you realize, like, this needs now. And what happens, it's taken away from what you should be doing because it wasn't resolved. It should have been resolved. And this is all goes back to your time management. Resist and cease. So comfort activities, computer games, net surfing, excessive chat, gossip, social communications, daydreaming, doodling, overlong breaks, reading irrelevant material, unnecessary adjusting equipment, etc., embellishment and overproduction. Habits and comforters, not true tasks, non-productive, demotivational, and minimize or cease altogether. Plan to avoid them. Okay, comfort activities, computer games, Netflix. How many of us are guilty of those while at work? Chat, gossip, and how many of us are guilty? The next one I'd say again, daydreaming, doodling, overlong breaks. I would imagine we're all guilty at some stage. Reading irrelevant material, unnecessary, I'm sure that if we all had a look at ourselves, we'd all be guilty of at least doing at least one of those in our workday. Every one of us, there's no exceptions here, me included. We're human. But if you are, would say, just if I would say you're a cigarette smoker, if you're a smoker, the temptation or the addictiveness of going out for a cigarette. Sometimes we go for a cigarette just for the sake of it. We don't need to, but we go why? Because of the waste time you go for in 15 minutes, 10 minutes each time you go for a cigarette. If you go for, 6 cigarettes, that's an hour. Doesn't seem so at the time. It's only when you time it or add it up. Again, any of you that smoke, try the test. Time yourself. From the time you go to the time you come back in. From the time you actually decide, I'm going out for a cigarette. Now, whether you have your cigarettes on you or they're in your locker room or in your bag or wherever they are, from the time you go to get them, go out, leave it up, smoke it, put it away. How much time is wasted? If you go for 4 cigarettes, if you go for 6 cigarettes, if you go for 10 cigarettes, depends on how heavy a smoker you are. Not time, throughout the day. And then you wonder at the end of the day, you go, why am I constantly behind in what I should be doing? Again, people who don't smoke, then are we surfing the net, or are we on Google looking for this, looking for that, looking for our next holiday, looking for our next car, whatever it is? Computer games. How many of you guys play computer games, whether it be on the work computer or whether on your own personal device? How many of us do that? The chat and gossip, again, it's what happens at work, isn't it? We'll not say it's going to stop, but try and resist it if you can. Daydreaming, that just comes down to boredom, really. There's a doodling, daydreaming over on back. That comes down to boredom. Reading irrelevant material, again like surfing, constantly adjusting your equipment. All you're doing is wasting time. Do you need to be constantly adjusting your equipment? All it is, it's just wasting time. Workload efficiently is one of the key tenets of self-management and therefore personal effectiveness. Successful planning means that leaders and managers can achieve a balance between the amount of work to be done and the time and resources available. This is an ongoing process as work, resources, and timeframes accordingly. A well-structured workload is the key to management and will increase your productivity. Though plans will not always work out as you intended, they often need to be adjusted or removed entirely in the case of unexpected change. They provide a general idea of what needs to be done and by when it needs to be achieved. Plans can apply to yourself or to the wider team or organization. So, back to your routine at work. When you go into work in the morning, do you have a plan, or is it just whatever? Everything is kind of flying by the seat of your pants, or or something like that, or do you have a set plan that you do, and this it's done by how I suppose necessity. This needs to be done at this time. This needs to be done at that time. Whether you're doing it an open up, whether you're doing a lock up, whether certain things have to be done at, are time sensitive, or is it you just doing whenever they need to be done, or whenever you feel like doing them? What is your routine? Again, we probably on this evening, okay? Deliver work on time. Getting a time to task helps you to complete on time. It also helps you to manage your workload in the most effective way. When you have time box tasks, your brain gets to follow the structure, excuse me, and accomplish those activities within the desired time frame. Thus, you can easily deliver work on time if you manage your time. Give yourself time, right? So task A needs to be done by, so you start work at 8 o'clock in the morning. So task A needs to be done by 8 o'clock. Task B needs to be done by 9 o'clock, and so forth and so forth. You will realize that when you, again, I do understand that certain things may happen, and you think, but again, like we said in the previous slide, plan. It's good to have a plan. The plan will change, but you still have a plan. And if a crisis doesn't come in, or an emergency comes in, or something important that takes you away from your plan, then you have a plan, and try and stick to that plan. Quality of time and prioritization of activities, one can easily provide a better quality of work. Prioritization helps you focus on important tasks, keeping them at the highest priority, which enables you to work on them with full attention and focus. Hence, the quality of the work is our list of priorities, whether it be professionally or personally. So the activities, the task of this priority needs to be done first. Increase productivity and efficiency. It is no secret that effective time management skills make you more productive and efficient as a working professional. These skills are helpful in helping you finish tasks as early as possible without compromising the quality of work. Your overall productivity often goes for a toss when you're working on unimportant tasks. But effective time management skills let you take up tasks that are both important and urgent at the time. Again, that paragraph is self-explanatory. Effective time management make you more productive and more efficient as a working professional. If you're constantly trying to get jobs done, what happens is you do lose focus. You rush the job. It may not be delivered in the time that it's supposed to be delivered. You may be constantly missing deadlines and so forth. So go back to your time management skills. Decreased procrastination. I will do it later. This is an excuse that we have all made at some point. Not just about doing more in less time, but also to reduce the urge to delay or procrastinate over important tasks. Applying good time management tricks enable you as founder, leader, or employee to work smarter rather than harder. It instantly eliminates procrastination that you are familiar with the task as list finished and it needs to sorry. Manage risks. Planning and forward thinking will highlight any potential risks to work in the future. Allowing for contingency planning. This is the key tenet of and business continue. So again, how many times have we said, yeah, I'll do it later? All of us, I would imagine. And it's an excuse. Again, like I'm saying there, the meaning of time management is not just about doing more in less time, but also reduce the urge to delay it. So all you're doing is putting off the inevitable. It has to be done now than later. At least if you do it when it should be done, it's done, it's dusted, it's out of the way, it's gone, it's delivered, it's in on time, whatever the thing. You're just putting it off. What we say, we've all heard that saying, delaying the inevitable. It has to be done rather sooner than later. And again, managing risks, planning and forward thinking will highlight any potential risks to work in the future. Plan and forward thinking, it's a preventative measure. And when we get into, say, one of the later modules later on, safety management, things like that, and crime prevention, you see where all this comes to planning and forward and any risks. Lower your stress and anxiety. There are times when employees feel overwhelmed due to too much work on their plates. This can only hamper your productivity, but also take a toll on your overall health. Excessive stress and hypertension can lead to heart diseases, depression. Knowing what to do can reduce unnecessary stress and tensions from your life. Improve your quality of life. Effective time management don't just benefit your professional life, but also can improve your life outside of the office. If you keep things under control on a professional, you'll get more time to focus on your personal life and relationships. Knowing the fact that the tasks and activities are on track will bring a sense of calmness to your personal life, as you will feel calmer and less stressed out. Your quality of life improves automatically. And it's true. If you know that everything is done, everything has been boxed, it's on time, then when you're not in the office and you're focusing on your personal time, you don't have to worry about what's happening in the office. You know that all your tasks, all your reports, whatever it is you have to do, have been done, submitted, and are out of the way. You don't have to worry. So you have a calmness about you. So you're not stressing about it. Expand opportunities and career growth. Being punctual with your work will not only increase your effectiveness, will also help you earn a good reputation at work. When managers and seniors know that you'll always complete your tasks on time, it could lead away to more time for leisure and recreation. When was the last time you had time to do things that you really enjoy? With good time management, and recreation activities that make you happy. Ultimately, this helps you to create the perfect of your choice in return. Again, it makes sense, doesn't it? If you manage your time correctly, it gives you more time to enjoy the things that you really enjoy, the things that you really want to do on your free time. Whatever it is that you enjoy doing, whether it's walking, whether it's painting, whether it's playing video games, whether it's whatever it is that you enjoy doing, the better your time you have to enjoy these. When was the last time any of you would actually go and did that? So, time management tips. 1, set goals correctly. So when we say set goals, what we're saying here is set goals that are achievable. You don't want to set a goal for yourself that's unattainable, because you only end up disappointed, frustrated, angry. So set goals that are achievable, and give yourself a time frame for these goals. And when you reach these goals, reward yourself. That's what it's all about. Prioritize wisely. So again, you need to prioritize, things in the correct way. Don't prioritize the meanness or the unnecessary. Prioritize the urgent and the need to do. Again, like I said, with setting goals, give yourself a time limit. But again, give yourself a realistic time limit. Don't give yourself 5 minutes for something that's going to take 15 minutes. Because again, you're going to rush, lose focus, and get it wrong. So give yourself realistic time frames. Take breaks between tasks. 20, 25 minutes, give yourself 2 minutes, take a break, max 1 minute or two before you move on to the next task. Again, organize yourself. It's much easier to organize your tasks, organize your day. Remove any non-essential tasks. So tasks that you don't need to be doing or are non-essential. Why do them? If they don't need to be done or you should be doing, why are you doing? And lastly, number 7, plan. What's next? So I've done this, what's next? I've done that, what's all ahead? Have a plan, know where you're going. Excuse me. So set your goals correctly, okay? Set goals that are achievable and measurable, as I mentioned in the last one. Use the SMART method when setting goals. Make sure you set are specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely. They're just SMART, okay? It's pointless you setting goals yourself that's unattainable, that's unrealistic. What's the point in that? You'll only end up disappointed. Give yourself, small, something more. You reach the goal. Reward yourself at the end of it. So, right, so they're all the positives of good time. Okay. Now what we have are the implications of poor time management. So it's all the consequences of poor time management. Poor work, the and goals means poor efficiency. For example, if there are several important tasks, to plan to complete the related tasks together or sequentially. However, if you do plan ahead, you could end up having to jump back and forth or backtrack in doing your work. This tends to reduce efficiency and lower productivity. So, if you have to jump back or backtrack, what are you doing? You're wasting time. So again, stick to, that's why the plan is that, right, I'm going to do this, then I'm going to do this. Why? Because this follows on from that, and so forth, so forth. Point is going up here, going back here, going up here, come back here, then go back up there, then go back. It makes no sense. You're constantly backtracking, and then backtrack. So your tasks, and make them, follow the order that you should go in. Wasted time. Results in wasted time. For example, by talking to friends on social media while doing assignments, you are distracting yourself and wasting time. And it is, if you're on social media, or even task. You're not focused on what you're doing, and you may have to backtrack, correct something that you got wrong while you're either chatting on social media or chatting with colleagues. So focus on what you're doing. Loss of control. By not knowing what the next task is, you suffer from loss of control of your life. That can contribute to higher stress and anxiety. So again, it all goes back to the plan. Know what the next task is. Always kind of be thinking one step ahead. So this is what I've done now. This is what I do next. I've done that. This is what I need to do next. Plan ahead, knowing what you have to do next. Your work suffer. For example, quality because you're rushing, you get it done as quick as you can because it's time to go home or whatever. Compromise the quality. The task is not done. Poor reputation. If clients or your employer cannot rely on you to go, their expectations and perceptions of you are adversely affected. If a client cannot rely on you to get something done on time, they'll quickly take their business there. And they will, if I want something by, Tuesday morning and I don't get it on Tuesday evening, that's not good to me. I need that Tuesday morning. And what happens then? Ultimately, you could end up out of a job, unemployed. So here's a quote. It's fine to work, but our minds need time to recover, need to move. So yeah, it's good to be committed to your work, but you need time to step away from work. If you're constantly work, what happens is your mind needs to get away from work. And again, like we mentioned a few slides ago, the better you manage your time, the more time you have stuff you enjoy doing. You're getting a break from work. If your time management is good and you get all your tasks done when they should be done, you don't have to worry about it. You can think about fun stuff you enjoy doing. How many times have you thought about something you'd like to do, but then thought that you don't have time for it? Many of us spend so much time doing what we feel we must do, we don't have enough time for what we'd love to do. You may feel you don't have enough quality time for your family or solitary activities. The trouble is that not having time for those things can leave you feeling stressed and unhappy. We sometimes we go involved with our work, and again, it's all down to how we manage our time, that we don't have enough time for our friends, our family, for things we're doing. And again, constantly job in your head and constantly thinking about the job. You're on a surefire path for a heart attack, and that's let's be honest here. You need to switch off from work, and how do we do that? By managing our time. Simple little things, like we mentioned here at the very start of this presentation. The small little things. If we just kind of claw back on those small little things, it does give. I mean, like the time you spent on your personal device. Again, you may take our money on for time, but if that's 10 or 20 times a day, that's 20, 40 minutes, depending on how long you run it. 40, you can get a lot done in 40 minutes. If you're a smoker and you go for 5 or 6 cigarettes a day, every time you do that, that's 5-10 minutes. That's an hour. Again, that's add both of them together. Time on your voice, answering social media questions or whatever it is, going out for cigarettes. That could be up to 2 or 3 hours a day that you're wasting. And like I said, at the end of the day, then you say, where's my day gone? I haven't had time to do anything. Why? Because you're either doing this, on your device, or doing this outside in the yard. Think about it. You need to, try those simple tests that I mentioned at the start of this presentation. The benefits of downtime, okay? So the ability to find time in a busy schedule is important for a few reasons. Having enough time for leisure activities, time alone, or simply doing nothing time is vital for maintaining balance. When you have time for yourself, you can develop and explore your interests, build mental strength, plan for your future, relax, learn more about yourself, improve emotional regulation. Again, all good reasons to manage your time. And we mentioned this at last week. How much do we really know about ourselves as a person? Do other people see us as we see ourselves? Again, when you have time, when you have recreation time or downtime, you can learn a lot about yourself. People, particularly introverts, need time to rest and regroup. The amount of necessary downtime increases during time stress. In other words, the more stressed you are, the more you need that downtime. If you would like to increase your level of happiness and life satisfaction this year, one of the best changes you can make is to find more time in your schedule for a life that reflects what you'd really like to be doing. And that kind of goes without saying, really, doesn't it? Declutter your schedule. Take a hard look at how you spend your days and see what can be cut. Some questions you might ask yourself include, are you watching several hours of TV per day? Could you be more efficient at work? Are there things on your schedule that could be dropped without serious ramifications? Could you delegate some responsibilities to free up more time? So there's a little quiz for yourselves. Could you be, are you watching several hours of TV a day? Could you be more efficient at work? Are there things that you could drop without, any seriousness? And could you delegate some responsibilities to free up more time? I suppose the last one there really depends on the role you have in your workplace. Are you in a position to delegate? You may need to have some of that extra time just to decompress. You don't want to force yourself to be operating at full capacity 24 hours a day when you may need to relax with a rerun every now and then. You might also find that you're spending time on things like social media out of habit rather than out of a need for a break. Or you're wasting times in a way that you don't actually enjoy without realizing it. dropping some of these time wasters can yield some extra time that can be used in better ways. And again, you know, it's true. Are we spending time on things like social media or playing computer games just out of habit? You know, we're just doing it for the sake of doing it, you know, or are we wasting time in other ways that don't actually, you know, that we don't actually enjoy without realizing it? You know, I suppose, you know, it's something for you guys to think about, it's something that we should all be thinking about. Are we doing things that, you know, we don't really need to do, you know, when we could be doing other stuff? So plan your downtime, okay? One way to make sure that you get at least a little time to yourself each day is to plan some non-negotiable downtime activities. For example, if you'd like to start exercising more, plan which days you plan to work out and then schedule the rest of your day around those things. Some ways to carve out time for yourself even when you are busy. Set boundaries, make sure that other people know they are not allowed to interrupt during your downtime. Prioritize and get most of the tasks done early so you have more free time to work with. Work on creating a tranquil space that you can enjoy, whether it involves making a playlist of your favorite songs, decluttering a room to make space for your hobbies, or going to the gym or going for a game of golf. Whatever it is, work on turning your time into a habit and make it part of your regular routine. Sometimes you have to tell people, right, this is my downtime, you know, do not interrupt, you know. I have 1 hour a day that I want to, you know, go to the gym, listen to music, make pots, whatever it is. This is my hour. Whatever it is can wait until that time is up. And make it a rule and make people understand, okay, this is my time, okay? Whatever it is, you know, go for a walk, you know, it doesn't matter what it is, once it's downtime for you. And people respect that downtime, you know, unless it's, life changing emergency, obviously then, you know, that takes priority. But if it's trivial stuff, it can wait. It can wait. It can either wait until you've finished or it can wait till the next day. This is where we go back to prioritizing. What's important? What needs to be done? What has to be done? You know, there are certain things that we think need to be done, but they don't need to be done. So that's what we have to look at. So don't wait until you reach a point where you feel like you cannot take it anymore. When you feel like you need a break, walk away for a few moments to clear your head. Even if it's just to relax a few minutes with a cup of coffee or enjoy a stroll around the block. Okay, again, depending on the role we're in, we may or may not be able to do that. We certainly can walk away for a minute. I find sometimes counting to 10, deep breaths, count to 10. Sometimes that helps. Guys, that's all I have for you this evening. It was an interesting session tonight. I hope you get something from it. I hope you show you one or two of those tests that I mentioned at the very start. It'll be interesting to see what you come up with. Maybe we can discuss a little bit on Wednesday evening. Until then, I shall talk to you all on Wednesday evening. Have a good couple of days, and I'll talk to you soon.